Old Islamic college campus at night, lanterns glowing, students walking in courtyard. Mysterious fog in the distance, cinematic lighting, ultra-realistic, suspenseful atmosphere. The old wooden door loomed before him, its weathered surface a stark contrast to the pristine facades of the surrounding shops. The young man hesitated, his bare feet feeling the cool cobblestones beneath them. The quiet town street seemed to hold its breath, waiting for his next move. Warm light from old-fashioned street lamps cast long shadows across the scene, creating an atmosphere both nostalgic and unsettling. The closed shops with their traditional signs stood silent witnesses to this moment, their darkened windows reflecting the flickering lamplight. He took a deep breath, his simple traditional clothes rustling softly in the evening breeze. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very town itself knew that something extraordinary was about to unfold. His hand reached out, trembling slightly as it grasped the tarnished brass doorknob. The door creaked open, revealing a yawning darkness beyond. For a moment, he stood frozen on the threshold, caught between the familiar world behind him and the unknown that lay ahead. The warm glow of the street lamps seemed to fade, leaving him in a pool of shadow. With a final glance back at the quiet street, he stepped forward into the darkness. The door closed behind him with a soft thud, leaving no trace of his passage save for the fading echo of his footsteps. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. His eyes struggled to adjust to the gloom, picking out vague shapes in the darkness. The floorboards creaked beneath his feet, each step sending shivers up his spine. As he ventured deeper into the building, a faint light began to grow. It flickered and danced, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The young man's heart raced, torn between fear and an inexplicable excitement. The light led him to a room where candles burned in ornate holders, their flames casting a warm, intimate glow. In the center stood a figure, shrouded in shadow. As he approached, the figure turned, revealing a face of haunting beauty. Time seemed to stand still as their eyes met. In that moment, he knew that his life would never be the same. The air crackled with tension, a mixture of attraction and danger that set his nerves on edge. Words were unnecessary as they drew closer to each other, pulled by an irresistible force. Their hands touched, sending a jolt of electricity through his body. In the candlelight, her eyes shimmered with secrets and promises. Outside, the town slumbered on, unaware of the drama unfolding within the old building. The street remained quiet, the closed shops standing guard over their secrets. But inside, a story of love and horror was beginning to unfold. As the night deepened, strange sounds began to emanate from the building. Whispers and laughter, punctuated by moments of eerie silence. The warm glow of the candles flickered, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. The young man found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, alternating between ecstasy and terror. Each touch, each kiss seemed to bring him closer to something both wonderful and terrible. Hours passed like minutes, the outside world forgotten. The candlelight danced across their skin, highlighting every expression, every movement. It was a dance of passion and fear, of love and horror intertwined. As dawn approached, reality began to seep back in. The young man realized with a start that he had no idea how long he had been inside. The world beyond the old wooden door seemed like a distant memory. With reluctance, he made his way back through the building, retracing his steps. The figure watched him go, a mixture of sadness and hunger in her eyes. He knew, deep in his heart, that he would return. The door creaked open once more, spilling him out onto the quiet street. The first rays of sunlight were just beginning to touch the tops of the buildings, chasing away the shadows of the night. He blinked in the growing light, his bare feet once again feeling the cool cobblestones. The shops were still closed, their signs swinging gently in the morning breeze. It was as if nothing had changed, and yet everything was different. As he walked away, the young man cast one last glance back at the old wooden door. It stood there, innocuous and inviting, holding the promise of both ecstasy and terror. He knew with a certainty that both thrilled and terrified him that when night fell again, he would return. The street began to come to life around him, shopkeepers opening their doors, early risers hurrying to work. But for the young man, the world had shifted on its axis. He carried with him the memory of the night, a secret burning in his heart, as he walked barefoot through the awakening town. The old wooden door loomed before him, its weathered surface a stark contrast to the pristine facades of the surrounding shops. The young man hesitated, his bare feet feeling the cool cobblestones beneath them. The quiet town street seemed to hold its breath, waiting for his next move. Warm light from old-fashioned street lamps cast long shadows across the scene, creating an atmosphere both nostalgic and unsettling. The closed shops with their traditional signs stood silent witnesses to this moment, their darkened windows reflecting the flickering lamplight. He took a deep breath, his simple traditional clothes rustling softly in the evening breeze. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very town itself knew that something extraordinary was about to unfold. His hand reached out, trembling slightly as it grasped the tarnished brass doorknob. The door creaked open, revealing a darkness that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. The young man's silhouette stood framed in the doorway, a stark contrast between the warm glow of the street and the inky blackness beyond. He hesitated for a moment, his heart pounding in his chest. As he stepped over the threshold, the floorboards groaned beneath his weight. The door slowly swung shut behind him, cutting off the comforting light from the street. He found himself enveloped in a darkness so complete it felt almost tangible. Suddenly, a faint light flickered to life somewhere in the depths of the building. It cast eerie shadows on the walls, revealing glimpses of ornate wallpaper and antique furniture. The young man's eyes widened as he took in his surroundings, a mixture of fear and curiosity etched on his face. He moved forward cautiously, each step echoing in the silence. The air grew colder as he ventured deeper into the mysterious space. Whispers seemed to dance on the edge of his hearing, just out of reach. Were they merely tricks of his imagination, or something more sinister? As he rounded a corner, he came face to face with a grand staircase. Its polished wood gleamed in the dim light, inviting him to ascend. At the top, a figure stood shrouded in shadow. The young man's breath caught in his throat as he strained to make out the details. Slowly, the figure descended, each step deliberate and graceful. As it came into the light, the young man gasped. Before him stood a woman of otherworldly beauty, her eyes holding secrets of ages past. She extended a pale hand towards him, a beguiling smile playing on her lips. Time seemed to stand still as their eyes met. In that moment, the young man knew his life would never be the same. He reached out, his fingers intertwining with hers. The touch sent a jolt through his body, a mixture of exhilaration and terror. The woman led him further into the house, each room revealing new wonders and horrors. Portraits on the walls seemed to follow their movement with hungry eyes. Mirrors reflected impossible scenes, glimpses of other times and places. The young man's mind reeled, struggling to comprehend the impossible reality surrounding him. As they climbed to the upper floors, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. The woman's grip tightened on his hand, both reassuring and possessive. They passed through a series of rooms, each more fantastical than the last. Time and space seemed to blur, reality bending to the will of this strange place. Finally, they reached a door unlike any other. It pulsed with an inner light, beckoning them forward. The woman turned to the young man, her eyes searching his. In them, he saw a lifetime of loneliness, of waiting for this very moment. Without a word, he nodded, understanding the unspoken question. Together, they pushed open the door, stepping into a blinding light. As his eyes adjusted, the young man found himself in a world beyond imagination. The boundaries between love and horror, reality and fantasy, blurred into insignificance. He knew that whatever lay ahead, there was no turning back. The door closed behind them with a final, resounding click. In the quiet town street, life continued as if nothing had happened. The old wooden door stood silent, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to cross its threshold. The warm glow of the street lamps cast their familiar shadows, hiding the secrets that lay just beyond the realm of ordinary perception. And so, another chapter in the town's hidden history began, a tale of love and terror intertwined, forever changing the life of one young man who dared to step through that mysterious door.